All right. And I would like to welcome Joetta. Thank you so much for being here with us again today. You're going to cover some intermediate and advanced topics in Navigate, which we're very excited about. So I'm really appreciative that everyone's here. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to you and I'll be available if needed.
All right, sounds great. I'm going to do mainly some reporting things today. And reporting it can grow exponentially very quickly. So I want to just go through a few different reports. And then that just might get your brain going as to how you could pull some data out, or it might even be like, okay, I'd like to do this, pull this data. How could I do that? And so just like I said yesterday, I am definitely available to meet with you one-on-one as a small group. So, always keep that in your mind. Leo already reached out. I meet with him next week. So it's awesome. So pretty much there's a set of reports that are in here. So I want to kind of go through just again some examples and a couple examples of how I've used it with my learning contract students. And then how you can kind of just look through your students. And Carl said, it's okay, I'm going to use the NKU Rocks category to pull a few of those names. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So know that he's been using it for a couple of years, putting information in. So just going to be able to kind of go through some of these reports and again, definitely just this is what it can do. So be thinking in your head of how can I use it, and also just how can I what kind of categories do we need in here for you guys, or what kind of tags and those kind of things. So so down here we're going to actually cover these two tabs, right, these little right here. So reporting we're going to actually do first, and there's some set reports, and there are lots of filters available. And so I want to kind of go through this, the main filtering screen first, and then we'll go back and I'm going to do a few examples. And so this right here is all based on appointments. And so you think mainly the appointments are students are making appointments with their advisors. And so that right here, you can actually go through and look through those appointments. This right here, you can actually search alerts, and you can search progress reports. I mentioned Monday that the alerts are as a faculty member, like when I teach my math class, if I have a student who stopped coming or is just, not turning in homework, and I can actually issue alert through Navigate, and that gets sent to Peg down in UCAP, and then she can send it out to one of her counselors, and then they create a case, and then information goes in there. So I could search to see if any of my students, again, NKU Rocks, my NKU learners, I can see if they have gotten alerts and what happened with that alert. And in the progress reports, I know that athletics is using the progress reports. I know that Pathfinders uses the progress reports. And what that does is they have get a group of their students. They set up a progress report that sends out to all of those students' instructors to ask them how they're doing, if they have any attendance issues, what's their current grade, those kind of things. So you can also look through those. And then any of these kind of data reports, notes are also put in there, not just appointment summaries. So you could search on notes. We don't keep attendance or assignments in there currently. I am going to do one on student enrollment. So I'll use that to actually get my midterm grades for my NKU learner students. So I'll kind of go through some of these pieces here. You guys got your seatbelts buckled? I am very open for questions, so feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions as we go, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is just appointments. So what I could do is I could find, and this maybe could be done, we're at the end of the semester right now, but maybe I'm just looking through the first part of just the spring semester, and I'll just start with January 4th through current. And I could search for appointments, and I could search for without appointments. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to see how many of my students, which are my NKU learner students, did not have an appointment at all? You think that's a problem that they haven't had an appointment? Yes, definitely. So down here under student information, remember we talked about these categories, and I have an NKU learner category, and so I could pick that. And I could add more categories. So, you know, you could do a number of categories. And up here, I can search. We talked a little bit about the care units and what those were. So I'm just going to pick them all. Not all of them are having people put things in there currently, but I'm going to go ahead and put them in. I could also filter by location, and I could filter by a service. So like I said, there are a lot of filters in here that you could kind of pull through. So right now, I'm just going to search for all of my NKU learner students who did not have an appointment in any care unit for the spring semester. And you'll see it thinking and thinking. We're going to see this a lot today. I could bring my dogs and they could entertain us while doing those searching. I had to lock them out. They lay right here beside me all day. So they're going to miss me when I'm gone all day now in the fall. And so I have quite a few that did not have appointments, okay? So you can think about the fact that maybe if I did this at midterm or within, you know, they have so many appointments that they're supposed to do. So I could run this list and then I could export it and then set up an appointment myself. Or I can, at this point, send a message to these students to remind them that they need to have, you know, their appointments made and those kind of things, okay? So it just gives you a little bit of an idea of the information that's in here. Another good one that I can do is appointment summary. I clicked on the first one instead. And these I can actually search through the appointment summaries for text. So for example, let's say that, again, I'm just going to do the spring semester. And I can search right here for summary text. So let's say, for example, that I'm going to search for UCAP. Maybe in the advising summary that one of the advisors put in there, they have said, I'm going to ask you to go see UCAP, or I'm going to refer you to UCAP. You know, and that could be a number of reasons why. And so I could actually search for that. And again, you could pick students in the categories. You could put in student ID numbers right here, which I'll do a little bit later. But there's other ways to search for students besides just these categories that are here. So we'll search for my NK learners again. And what it'll do is it'll bring up that student's information, and it'll show in that summary that the UCAP was typed into that summary. And so that's just something that I could then go and check on them to say, you know, this right here talks about that this student actually had a UCAP alert. And so it's just talking to that student about that alert, but you can see the summaries that are here. So there's a way to be able to go back and search for that text that's there. You know, you can see here another one that I've searched for is tutoring. Maybe they referred the student to get some tutoring, okay? Or just a referral in general. So those are some things that I've searched for my learning contract students. Does that make sense? Can you start thinking of some things that maybe you could do? Anybody got any ideas? I like pop quizzes. I am a teacher. Crickets. No? Okay, we'll be thinking. And so again, down here is just the student information. So I could search for just one student. I could put a list of ID numbers out of an Excel spreadsheet right here. I could search by a student list. And I talked about that on Monday, how you could build a student list and then you would have a list of actually search through here instead of by a category. There are some tags in here also. I know that I have tagged students that have that education diversity scholarship. There are students who have been summer sparks in the year, what course they took. There's the Norse Scholars and the Norse Difference Scholarships. So those are all tags that have been done by different departments. Enrollment history, you can say that they're enrolled in the spring. And then this little plus sign right here lets you add others. Okay, now read these carefully. These have bit me more than one time. So this says in any of these. So I can add more than one term to this. So they're enrolled in any of these. Okay, so this one or this one or this one or this one. In all of these. So if I add a term, couple terms here, it has to be in both of those. So they are enrolled in the fall and the spring. And none of these. So I could say who's enrolled in the fall or the spring, but not in the fall. So make sure you're looking at those carefully. So if you remember anything from your algebra classes, see, I'm pulling math into here. This is an or, okay? Are a union, and this is an and, right? An intersection. And then we have area of study. I could say that I want to know the students that are in College of Business. So I can narrow down by college. I can narrow down by major. And again, see these terms, any of these, all of these, none of these. Concentrations and degree. And then term data, maybe I only want to look at a certain term. Maximum and min credits, enroll with a certain instructor. Classification, I want to look at only the freshmen, only the seniors. See how this can get very, so many filters in there to work with. Performance data, min and max, cum GPA, high school GPA, min and max credits, hours attempted, okay? And maybe I only want to look at a certain course, okay? So you can see that these get, there's lots of detail in here, so.
Joetta, this is Leo here.
Yeah, Leo.
So I just sent out an email today. The Covington Police Chief, Rob, good friend. But anyway, so he wants us to go ahead. Obviously, they want to recruit Latino to their police force. So yes. I sent out an email to the listserv. But if I want to narrow down to see the list of Latino students who are majoring in criminal justice, for instance, so I should be able to go ahead and do it from here. Is that right?
You are. As soon as we meet on Tuesday, right, and I get your list and we put them in here, that would be a category of LAMP and we could pick that major.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And the same thing with, I guess, another, whenever they're looking for Latino students to continue their master's, even doctorate, they want to be, some universities want to recruit Latinos to pursue go to medical school, for instance. So I could also identify those students who are in the sciences. But then again, when you go to medical school, you don't have to have a biology. You could have a general degree. Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. Because as soon as we get your students in there, that would be, I already have the category in there for us to work with right there. So I would pick that category, and then down here we could pick. We could just go by the college, or we could actually pick the major that's in here, that's here. So criminal justice. Yep, here we are. Good. Leo gets a gold star. He's thinking already. Okay, so again, appointment summary. So under alerts right here, okay, I can go into the alerts and I can look to see again, based on, you know, the time frame. Boy, technology is great when it works, isn't it? There we go. It's got to think for a little bit. So again, I'm going to do that time frame. And I want to do, we'll do NKU rocks instead of my learners each time. So what this is going to bring up are any students that are in that category that have an alert on them. So Carlos, would that be good for you to be able to see that?
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm
Oh,
there.
it's on the spot.
I couldn't find my unmute button. I was like, yes.
I know. Yeah, so these right here are just all the alert comments. And so, you know, the teachers that have, you know, the instructors that have put those in there. And so again, I could, you know, make this a student list, and I could then keep an eye on them, you know, pull them up and those kind of things, check their grades, those kind of things that are there. So this just shows all the NKU rocks that have an alert, and then he can see the comments that are here. Okay. And I could just go here to one of these students and message that student from right here. And remember, that message goes into this conversations tab, so it's recorded in Navigate. So there's a record of that and you reaching out. Progress reports, like I said, not everyone is using these, but there are quite a few, especially like I said, I got, you know, 3 on my one athlete that I had in my classes. So, and again, we could do NKU rocks. And this is just going to give me the progress report data that has come back in from the instructors so that they can know what is there. So this gives them the course, section, instructor, progress report grade, any comments that the instructor has given. And it also, since we already have grades here, it already is giving us the midterm grade and final grade if that's been put in already. So it kind of, you know, it also gives, you know, the nice comments. So maybe it's that you, you know, bring these out and you send a note to the student saying, you know, great job so far, and those kind of things. So I didn't really mention over here that appointment campaigns. There are a lot of campaigns in here. So you definitely can report, you know, do reports based on your own campaigns, but it's really hard to find because they're not really, you know, listed by instructor or whatever. So, or by advisor. So those are kind of hard to go through, but you could definitely do your own campaigns and get reports from those. Notes are just the notes that you can put into, you can actually search notes for certain topics. Study hall is for pathfinders and athletes. They have to do study tables also. And we started putting the hours in there. So student enrollment is a big one. I use that one at midterm. And I use that one to see of my learning contract students, I look for their grades. And so what this gives me is their coursework for the term. And so what I do is once this, you know, prints out, it's going to give me the student, their course, and their midterm grade, if they've dropped the class or not. So you see there all the midterm grades that are there. And of course, some of the final grades are there because of where we're at right now. And then right here, I can export the results. Now, when I pick that, I can pick any of these categories. So maybe I want their student email listed in there. So you'll see it popped up, okay? Maybe I don't really care about if they've dropped it or not, or if it's the last day of the attendance. And that right there is just when is that course finished. So that's all that means. Okay, so you see here that there are a lot that I've unchecked because we don't keep attendance in Navigate. So I can export this, and it exports to Excel, and it'll download. You'll go to a report center. You'll see right down here it says it's going to be doing it, and it'll take it just a couple seconds. And then what I can do then is I can then edit that Excel. So it'll take me, I can click there and it takes me to the download center, and I can click on this. It comes into my downloads, and I can open it in Excel, and then I can go through and edit that. So I would sort it by student, and then sort it by the course. And then I just kind of check through those, and I pick the ones that have D's and F's. And then I would then pick those students. And we talked a little bit yesterday about campaigns and what campaigns are. And so I can then make a campaign for all of my learning contract students who had D's and F's at midterm. So I'm just going to delete this one so that I can just do a new one. And so we did this on Monday. So I'll do one called midterm grades. And then remember, we talked a lot about your availability, and I have to make sure that my care unit, so mine I do is student support, and I do virtual, and then I do a plan of support. And that has to match my availability. So I talked a lot about that on Monday. And then over here, when I want it to start and end, it starts on the day that I'm at the computer, and then goes for 2 weeks. So we talked about all this yesterday. So what I want to show you is that I had my Excel sheet, right, that I've sorted. And so I'm going to go to this advanced search, and I'm going to put all of those ID numbers in that was from my Excel form. Okay, remember that Excel was all the students that had D's and F's. I'd taken my Excel, I had sorted it, and so I had all of my students that had D's and F's. And then I could search for just those. So those are my students that were learning contract students who had D's and F's. And then I could add those to my campaign. And remember, again, you can pick yourself as the organizer. If you don't see yourself in the list, then your availability is not set up correctly, right? We talked about that on Monday. And then this right here is where I can, edit this information, schedule an appointment to discuss your midterm grades. Remember, the ones that are in the fancy parentheses, you don't want to remove those because that then pulls in the names from the database, right? And then, I can change any of this stuff down here. And then when I send this, they can make an appointment with me to discuss those midterm grades. How can I help you? So when they came to me from the midterm and I went through those, we would set a little plan up. Maybe they need to start going to tutoring. Maybe they need to go to the writing center. Maybe they were just having some difficulties with doing all online classes. And I kind of shared, some ways to kind of go through and do those a little better. So that just allowed me to be able to go through and do those. The other report that I can do is in an enrollment. Let me just stop for a minute because I'm just like throwing out all this information. Questions so far? Are you all seeing anything that you can use and that can benefit you? No?
Joetta, Leo again. Sorry.
Yeah, Leo.
Yeah, this student enrollment, I would imagine you're going to be, this is where we can, in my case, I could go ahead and look at all the Latino students who are enrolled, in the fall. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
I mean, I'm thinking of some things that could possibly be helpful, but I also am struggling with the confidentiality piece of what I do.
Yeah, that's what you and I talked about this
This-
summer, Julie.
Yeah, and this being like open to all the, faculty and staff.
Mhm.
So that's where it's like, I'm like, oh, but then I'm like, well.
I know. Okay, so what I'm going to show now is I'm going to show, we'll do rocks. And I want to see who in rocks was enrolled in the spring, but is not enrolled for the fall. Okay, so NKU Rock students involved, and they were enrolled this spring, but they're not so far enrolled in the fall. And let's search those.
We already know, and we working on them.
I had no doubts, Carlos. All right, so these are our students that are enrolled right now this spring semester, but are not enrolled in the fall, okay? Well, let's just check, for example, okay? So remember how I can export these, right? So I can export these, and then I could use those to then look at another list of students. So let's check those students who are not enrolled in the fall semester, because maybe, just maybe, they have an appointment set up. And so, you don't want to be calling them or, making them come and see you, and they say, hey, I already have an appointment, right? So let's go back. So I've exported my results. I've copied their ID numbers. So let's go back here. And let's go back to our appointments, right? So I've already done one list. I've done enrollments to say they're enrolled in the spring, but not in the fall. So now I can go back here to appointments. And I can see, and I'm going to go into the future, okay, because I want to know who already has an appointment made. And I'm going to go through July, just because I can. And I want to put all of those students' IDs right here.
Joetta, this is Julie.
Yeah, Julie.
These reports, do they show if a student has a hold on their account? Like, I'm thinking financial, financial holds, because that can keep students from being able to enroll, right? Or a conduct hold. I mean, our office, it's not a huge number, but so does that come up in these reports in any way?
There are some, but let me get this one, and then I'll look at
sorry.
No, you're fine. That's what I want questions for sure. So there are some holds on the student's opening screen. And so I think that those are also in this category. So we'll look.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Nope. I love the questions. So of those 130, 5 of them have advising appointments coming up. Okay. So Carlos has some calls to be doing, doesn't he? I had some calls from my learning contract students. Oh my gosh. They were just waiting for those grades to hit, So remember, I could also say who doesn't have an appointment, right? And then I could, at that point, so appointments, students without appointments, and then pop those numbers in, but then I also could say, okay, again, into the future, so that. And then once, those come up, and he could make Carlos could make a student list of those. And then he could use that student list to send out a campaign and those different kind of things. And just have those as a list. These are students that are not enrolled in the fall and don't have an appointment so far. And so right here is where you could add those to a student list.
Joetta,
Yes.
So who adds those names to, like, NKU Rocks? I guess when we send the report to Arnie, or who adds that list of students to this report? I guess that's my question. Or can we also add them from our end as well?
You can. I can train you how to do that. Pretty much, it's just if you have like Jennifer and I work together for NKU Rock, so she was my go-to, and she would just send me the names, and I would do that for them.
Okay.
And it's pretty much if you have the student ID number, it's very simple to add them into that category. Very easy. But I can also train you how to do it. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't take me long to do it, or I can show you either way.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I highlighted all these students here. So I could say not enrolled. Not enrolled fall 21-22. Okay. And I could save that list. And then I could use that list for other things that are in the reporting, and also for a campaign. Other questions about reporting?
So I'm swirling here. This is Julie. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Julie, that's okay.
So I'm thinking about, because I work closely with UCAP,
Uh-huh.
and they will get alerts sometimes that fit more with me.
Uh-huh.
I do, okay, with students. And so, Peg will typically, or whoever is working with that alert, make a note that it's been referred to me. Is it possible to somehow create a list that I could pull to see who, like, you know what I mean? Who has been referred to me, blah, blah, blah. In the system that I'm using, there's not a way for me to pull. I could pull, like, if they actually put it in my system, like, report for me in my system, I could pull, like, who is Peg Adams sent, like, done a report on. But sometimes it's just an email, and I say, I'll take it from here, you know, and so I'm creating the report. But would there be a way to maybe be able to track that in here?
Yeah, it depends on how Peg is putting that in, but I'll check with her to see if she's just saying it's a referral to who, referral to what department.
Yeah.
And so I can check with Peg.
Kind of in the body copy of the alert. And then she, of course, will let the faculty member know. Sometimes it's staff, but like, just let them know that it's better suited for me to reach out to the student.
Yes, absolutely.
And so thinking about our working relationship, that could possibly be helpful to have. I don't know.
Yeah. I can check with Peg to see how she's putting that in that body. And if there's a way that we could have her put it in there so that we could search for that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm happy to be a part of that conversation too.
Okay. That's perfect.
If you want it to be all three of us.
Says,
might just be easier. I don't know.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
You bet. I was going to look here, Joy, to see if the holds were in here. by categories. Yeah, there's a financial hold, credential hold. So there are some holds in here.
Yeah, no, that's good. I
Okay.
just know particularly financial, I guess, is really
Okay.
what's the main thing I was thinking of. But
Okay.
because, you know, that can impact so many different things. You know, are we not having students re-enroll because they haven't been able to take care of their financial need for this current semester?
Right. Okay. So that's pretty much what I want to go through with reporting. It's just, you know, again, and I know it's just, you know, it was a big umbrella. There's lots of things underneath that umbrella, but at least maybe it kind of got your brain going as to, you know, oh, okay, I can search by this or this. And again, feel free anytime that you think, okay, I can't figure this out, reach out to me. You know, two heads are better than one, right? I've had this a lot with some of the advising leads that are going, okay, I need to do this, you know, and so when the two of us talk together, we figure it out together. So feel free to always reach out. So the other thing I want to go through is some of the analytics, and there's a couple of pieces that you guys will have. You'll have this population health dashboard. And what this is it gives you like a broad view of the students. And again, they're the same types of filters that are on here as the filters that we saw in the reporting. So overview, so enrolled in the spring 2021, 10,666 students. Here's their average GPA, average credit completion. And then we talked yesterday about these predictive low, medium, and highs as to who, you know, what those mean. And then down here, performance concerns, how many students have a GPA less than 2? Their last enrolled term GPA. We talked about the success markers on Monday. How many have missed those? Okay. And then I can, again, over here, I can change these to any of those categories. I can clear all of those, and I can go in and just pick rocks. I can apply that. And for the spring, then there's 101 students. There's their average GPA, 90% average credit completion. And these are the students that are in those levels. Okay. Now I can click on this right here and it'll give me this list of students that are in that level. I can click right here and I can get the list of students that have a less than a 2.0. And then you could use that list to then reach out to them. I could look at all the students by a certain college. So I could look at College of Business. And I could pair that with any other classifications that, you know, things that are up here. I could look at just the juniors in the College of Business. So you can see how those can, again, you know, pull together a lot. So out of those 10,600 students, 1,622 are College of Business. There's their, again, average GPA, et cetera, et cetera. So just kind of a wide view. And those are just campaigns, you know. And then up here, this goes through to the academic. Let me pull this back off. Select all. So you might want to just get around and just kind of play around with this a little bit. Academic performance. So there's those students, and then this shows down here just the students that have these levels of GPA. And then difference between their last enrolled GPA and their cum GPA. So there's 74 students that have a 0, 468 that have between a 0.01 and a 1.99. total number of D's and F's earned. 1 D or F, 2 D's and F's, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus. And then there's the list of students that have that. And then academic progress. Credit completion percentages. So how many of those have credit completion 67 to 79%? How many of those are really, really close, right? So maybe it's things that are close you want to check on to see, you know, have you filed for, you know, graduation, those kind of things. And how many credits? How many credits have they earned? Attempted credits. And again, these are clickable and the list of students would come up. Missing those success markers. And I mentioned about those that are just those, you know, those classes that the students need to take at a certain time to keep them going in the right path. Repeats. This group of students has repeated 1 course, repeated 2 courses, and 3. Okay. How many have switched their major? Switched their major once, twice, 3 times, greater than 4. And again, you can do that for any of this information over here. So this is just start clicking around in it and start playing around in it just to see what some of those pieces are that are in there. And the other thing in the analytics, if you are in charge of a team of people, you know, you're an advising lead, you're in charge of, you know, Norris advising, you're the dean, you can look here to see how many appointments have been made. And I can look for a certain staff person. So I can look at a location. There's all the staff. So I can look to see, I can look at just a college. How many appointments have been made in College of Business or College of Education? And then what kind of communication has been sent out? How many emails have been sent out to students? How many texts? We talked about text on Monday, just that there, you know, we just recently turned that on. And I will say that I used it this week for one of my students who didn't finish his final. They get back to the text right away. They don't always get back to the emails, you know. But I know Ryan is trying to kind of work with a team to figure out, okay, when's the best time to use some of that? But again, I can see, you know, based on a staff person, how many messages are they sending out? And then this down here shows top communicators. So right there are 2 people that are in outs, right? They're reaching out to a lot of those adult learners. So it kind of gives you an idea of, you know, the people that are sending them out and what students have been contacted the most. So definitely this is a place just to kind of start looking through there and just trying to kind of figure out some of those pieces. And that's the analytics, population health dashboard, and the activity dashboard. Okay. So pretty much today was, you know, that reporting and how can we kind of go through, you know, pull some reports out that would benefit. And so that I can, you know, again, just to get back with students to help them be successful. Questions for me? I so appreciate you all getting, you know, coming in and giving up your time. And
Joetta, I do have another question.
yeah, Leo.
I'm also like Julie. I'm a little bit concerned about the confidentiality issue, particularly when it comes to DACA students and undocumented students.
Okay.
I guess my question is, can we identify those DACA students or undocumented students? And again, my concern is how this is wonderful information, but also to me, it's somewhat sensitive information. And I'm just concerned about how this information could be used for good and for bad.
Right. Right.
And to identify those students, and if it's being used for good, it's good. You know, here are the scholarships for undocumented students or DACA students.
Right.
The bad is if the government changes their policy, it's easy to identify those individuals, and I'm concerned about that as well. So I know that we have certain policies, FREPA and so on, but yeah.
I understand that. I will definitely check, talk to Ryan about that, because Ryan's like my go-to person with all that information, and we'll have a meeting soon, and I will talk to him about that.
Yeah,
definitely.
Thank you.
You bet. Carlos, can you talk a little bit about how you've been using it, you or Jennifer, and if you like it, don't like it, how it's worked for you, how it's been good?
For sure. And I'll let Jennifer jump in after this, because she's mostly the one who utilizes with the students. It's been good for us because we've been able to, so we do intrusive revising appointments with all of our NKU Rock students once a month, and we're able to transfer those notes into the system so that the advisors can actually see what we meet with the students in regards, and our academic plans we set up for each one of the students each month. And so it's a way for us to see, like, if they've actually had their appointments with their advisors, that they're actually doing the things that they tell us that they're doing. Because a lot of times they'll tell us, well, I met with so-and-so and they said this, and we can go into Navigate and actually read the comments and say, well, actually they told you this is this, and how many of these things that you actually do. So that's been really good for us. And then also some of the reports that you just showed us was really eye-opening, because I was telling Jennifer, like, we should have been doing progress reports. We should, those type of things, because I do the progress reports for the athletes in my classes, but when they send them out, but I didn't know that, like, I could actually do that for rock. So I was like, shoot, we should have been doing this along the way as well. But Jennifer, do you want to add anything? Because she's in the other room.
Yeah, also we've been able to use it for just like assess the academic needs of the students. Like I know one time we did like a tutoring session, and we're able to identify who has like an F or a D, or just all the students based on like the grades that they have, and then offer like a Zoom tutoring session. So that was very useful. And then even what you shared today about like the analytics, like that's also very useful, like because I will actually go to each student and see their grades, and that was very tiring. So I'm glad there's like another way to do it.
Awesome. Any other comments, guys? All right. Well, I have a few questions written down. I'm gonna get with Julie and Peg with the information from the cases to be able to pull that stuff in. And Leo, I will talk to Ryan about the confidentiality. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for being here. If we can all just offer our gratitude to Joetta. This is twice in 3 days that she's offered an amazing session. So thank you so much. As a reminder, our next professional development session will be Monday, May 17th at 1 p.m. We're going to be talking about undergraduate admissions and recruitment. So I hope all of you can join us there. And again, thank you so much for being here, and have a great day.
Thanks, guys.